Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's almost Halloween, so I thought I'd try one of these silly filters. They're fun. So thanks for joining me. My name's Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And it's a time when we can relax and craft together, and we work on projects from beginning to end. And look, you guys, I got my Splendid Sampler 2 book in the mail today. This is also this little snake thing here. It's also a dedication to my hair because I got it cut on Halloween last year was the last time, and that's when I got it cut super duper short. So it's almost been a year since I got it cut. Yeah, and I think I should do my makeup like this. It's kind of crazy, right? But I'm super excited for the book, you guys. We can page through it a little tonight and take a look at some of the other blocks. But what I really want to do is work on another one of these guys. So another 4-patch of blocks. So this is the one that we finished last week, and I will go through my finished blocks. I think I have 4 other ones, so I have 5 total. So we need 4 to pick to make another 4-patch of blocks. So that is that. I want to see what another one of these look like. Hold on. Let's try. There we go. All right. So I'm here for real now. All right, I'm going to flip you guys around and we'll get started. Those are kind of fun. The Halloween ones were neat. Alrighty. Oh, I love the look. Hate snakes. Funny April. But yeah, the makeup, that'd be fun. Yeah, more red lipstick, more black eye makeup, right? Alright, so you guys, I got this in the mail on Sunday, yesterday. So I am stoked. Oh, look at some of the neat quilts in the back, where they've taken a few of the blocks and put them together. This is just adorable. But yeah, so if you guys are still waiting for your book, it will come at any moment, I think. But ooh, look at some of the ones that we have to look forward to here. That one's cute. Oh, we did this one. I'm not done with that one yet, though. But there's all sorts of fun to come, I think. And I'm excited to keep working on it. Oh my god, these have to be like a 1/2 inch big. Oh my god, it's so small. You forget how small these blocks are until you're working on it. Exactly, Gina. That's the one that gave me the best makeup, the snake one. So that's why the snake one. Oh, there's our little tulip. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that one. All right, fun, you guys. So we'll get I think we get a new block from the front cover yet, a free block on Thursday, but soon we'll be picking them from here, and I'm not picking them. Jane Davidson and Pat Sloan will still be picking them for the sampler. Oh, that's cute. This is cute too. Fun. Lots to do, lots to learn yet. Look at that guy. He's cute. All right, but I'm stoked. Oh yeah, there's a horse block in the back. I saw that one. That one looks insanely detailed. So look at all those itty bitty squares that we need to cut. They're all okay, so 44 1-inch squares, and some of them we have to turn into 1/2 square triangles. So that'll be interesting. But I'm excited for that one too. Just we'll put in the work and it'll get done. So all right, here is my guy from last week. Oop, they're falling out of here. I gotta find a little plastic case for this one yet. So this one's not quite done. All my finished ones are in past this little divider here. So I'm gonna start, now that I have the book, I'm gonna take these out of my finished ones out of here, so I have more sleeves for my unfinished ones. But let's see what's finished. So we got this guy. Let's take him out. I'm just going to take them out until I have 4. I'm not even going to pick. Okay, so this guy's the next one. Little birdie, we'll finally get him in the block. And this is the next guy up, Cathedral Window. So we will get those 4. Now, what do I have left? Oh, the pineapple. So pineapple will leave for our next 4s. I need to finish 3 other ones before I can get that guy in. But let's see, what do we have to do yet here? We have the clamshells. That's going to take us loads of time yet. Oh, that elephant we're hand doing. That will take a little bit of time too. A whole nother side of foundation paper piecing. Ugh, a whole pile of foundation paper piecing. We got a lot of paper piecing to do. A whole pile of embroidery. I think this last one, this flower child, is our best bet at finishing something quick. We just have to go around the edges, and I'm just going to sew those down. So we'll get this one done. And then I need 2 more yet, so maybe we can finish 2 more quickly here too. But for the time being, we have 4 blocks here. So I believe these 2 I did not cut down to the 6.5 inches yet. And the reason being, and I was talking about this a little before, but the last time we did this, I cut them all down first and sewed them together. But when we actually quilted it, it kind of pulled in on the fabric. And when I cut it to size, my fabric wasn't long enough in some parts anymore. I think we'll be able to hide it just fine once we sew it together. You know, here's a little bit more. You know, here's some edge. So to help me avoid that, I left them bigger if I had the opportunity where they were bigger than the 6.5 inches. And I'm just going to kind of lay them out. I don't know. I'm going quick. Let's just, there. How about like that? I think that's pretty. Get a little higher for you guys. And so now I know, well, this edge I'll cut down. So anyone that's bigger than the 6.5 inches, I'll just cut down the edges in the position where I want them here. This one looks like it's been cut down. But it'll help it be sewed all the way around the 4 patches to decrease the shrinking when sewing. That's not a bad idea, Linda. I think maybe I'll try that next time. So what Linda's saying is before I start quilting, once I have the layers of fabric together here, to sew around the edge to kind of lock the edge in place, and then hopefully it won't like pull in as much when I stitch. So I think that's a great idea. We'll give that a try. But right now we'll trim these down. So I just have to remember that this is the order I have them in. Ugh, it's still so cool, that cathedral window one. All right, so let's grab my little rotating mat here and my 6.5 inch ruler here. Swap the flower and cathedral will go on the bottom. Oh, I kind of think, in my head, these 2 are kind of too similar, I think. I don't know, there's something about it that, actually, all 3 of these are pretty similar, aren't they? I think I kind of like it like this. We're just going to leave it. Oh yeah, that horse one has that horse block. It looked like that horse was a little leather piece. My guess is you don't have to do it like a little leather piece. Okay, this one is fine. Oh, this one's already cut down. Let's see, what about this guy? He's cut down. So the only one we need to cut a little bit is this one. So I'm going to plop this back here. So I still have those fold marks. I can still see where those fold marks were to center this. So I'm going to just line up my diagonal. I have a little diagonal on this ruler. You can kind of see it there. I'm going to line that up with those diagonal bits. And we'll just find the center of this. I think I'm pretty good right there. Yeah, I think that's good. So I'm gonna just trim here to there. Yeah, Leslie, that's what I was gonna say. If you need just like a tiny piece of leather, I would just go to like, we have the Value Village here, but like a thrift store near you, and just get like an old purse or something, or like an old skirt, or something that has a little bit of leather. I would think like some really thin leather. You know, there's kind of that softer leather, not that really thick leather. That'll be easier to sew through. So something like that, I think, might be a way to find a little piece of leather if you need a piece of leather. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to leave it just like this. So I've only cut these two sides, so these sides will overhang a little bit, so that might help with our piece a little bit. So here is what we got. I already cut those sides, so this one needs to stay up there. I don't know, I think I like, in my head, like this one demands a lot of attention because it's like a bird, your eye goes to it right away, and this one does too because there's just a lot going on. So by having those two detailed ones here, it kind of balances out the whole square, although all of these are kind of detailed, and these three kind of, they have similar symmetry to them, you know, like this X shape and this shape and this shape all kind of relate. So I don't know, maybe a different one would have been better in here, but you know what, we're just going with it. So I think we'll be okay just as is. So we have already pre-cut a whole pile of little sashing pieces. Not enough, I don't think yet. I haven't done the math. I know some of you guys did the math for me yet, but I have to look at that yet. So I just cut a few here. We may have to cut more. I'm doing them 1 inch wide. So they're 1 inch by 6.5 inches, the size of our block. So I just have a pile sitting here. And then out of my bright colors, I have just cut a few blocks for like the little cornerstone. So that's what we'll put right here. Let's just grab that one. So let's do that. And we'll cut more of those so that they're different, so it's more of a kind of random selection of these bright colors, but this is what we'll do tonight. So we have basically a 9 patch going here. There's 9 pieces. So we'll sew this row together, then we have this row, and then this bottom row, and then we'll sew all 3 of those rows together. And the way I'm going to do that is we'll sew these 2 together, then these 2, then these 2, and then we'll come back and sew this group, and then this group, and this group. That's kind of how I plan out my 9 patches. So let's give that a go. We'll get sewing. Oh yeah, so we've been talking about this horse block. I got the book today, or yesterday, and it's the last, it's not the last block, there's an ice cream cone. That's awfully freaking cute. Look, it has a little strawberry on top. Cute. So anyway, that's the last block, but the second to the last block has this horse, and it looks like a applique piece of leather almost, which is kind of cool. He's walking with the sunset, but man, look at all those tiny squares. Here's our little map of it there. Hooey, man, that one's got a lot going on. Yes, so Faye, I'm loving the quilt as you go with the cornerstones too. So see where we're putting these, the sashing, and when there's a little square in the middle where all the corners meet, that's called a cornerstone. And you can see here it is in our piece that's finished when it's all quilted. We got these little cornerstones here that are just kind of neat little pops of color. So that's what we're doing for my quilt as you go quilt so far. So all right, let's start sewing these together. I'm hoping we can get this 9 patch completed tonight, or this nine patch all sewn up, and I'm hoping we can actually potentially layer our batting and our backing together too. All right, here's our first strip. So these should all be 6.5 inches. Okay, I got my shoe off. We're ready to sew. Leave that. I gotta say, my machine is feeling a little chunky right now, so I'm thinking it might be time for a new needle and to clean it up again. But we'll make it through this. Maybe before we start quilting. I'm hoping to start quilting this tomorrow, but maybe before we start quilting, I'll change up, put a new needle on and clean up the machine a little bit. But now that I'm cleaning my machine more often and changing the needles more often, I can definitely tell there's a slight change in the sound. Like I said, it gets a little more kerchunky. Like when the needle goes through the fabric, it just feels, and you can kind of hear it a little bit, just like it's working a little harder than it was. Actually, maybe it doesn't sound too bad, but we've been sewing with it for a while. We've been going through applique pieces that have a lot of gunk and stuff, and it's probably time to switch to a new needle at least. Oh, you're only 2 blocks behind? That's pretty dang good. All right, so I clipped the first bit that we sewed. So here is that sashing piece. And now let's get the cathedral window one on here. Okay. Line that up best we can. I think we'll sew with this sashing at the top. So I may clip this point a little bit. I'm hoping that I don't. But we'll just see how it goes. I'm just gonna start sewing and line it up after that. Okay. All right, we're over that point. Add kerchunky to the to the dictionary. Exactly. Okay, next up, we got our teeny little sashing piece here, our little tiny cornerstone. I know the drop on the floor did not help, that is true. Although it's holding up. A big giant shelf also fell on it at one point. That's where there's a crack in the top. There was a huge dent at our old apartment. At our old apartment, it had I had a shelf hanging above it, and with the wall mounts. What are those called? I don't know. Those giant stud things that you put in the wall. It even had those, and I guess it was too heavy because it ripped a hole in our wall, and I think one was in a stud and the other one wasn't, so it kind of it fell like this. The shelf, like half of the shelf, was still on, but it landed right on top of my sewing machine, and it bent the whole top, and the guy, it was flopping around when I sewed then, and so the sewing machine guy tried to pound it out, but it got cracked when he pounded out the dent, but it sits flat on the top now at least, so it's not shaking like it used to with the dent. So although it has a little crack, it's fine. It sews well. But yeah, so that was a big fall for the poor little guy. Machine, big boo boo for the sewing machine. All right, I'm gonna aim for these little points here where they crisscross, because that's where our point kind of runs into here. Actually, I think I think this floats in the end, so I don't think we'll actually hit any of those points. But yeah, and then it fell on the floor a couple weeks ago. So when it fell on the floor, one of the little, oh gosh, the thing that those little pegs that the spools sit on, one of those got pretty bent, so I can't have a spool on that one. But I don't know. Maybe I'll try and hammer it back. I don't know. So yeah, the machine's mad at me. All right, there we go. Yes, Nolene, it's a tough old girl, this sewing machine. Whenever I bring it to the sewing machine doctor, or the guy down the street that does the sewing machines, he's always like, "Oh, this will last forever. Your great grandkids are gonna be using that machine still." All right, so we didn't do too bad with that point there. So this is our bottom row, and then we got our middle row. Look how tiny that got. And our top row with the birdies. So that's looking good. So now we have to press these. I'm going to get over here, and we'll press them in the opposite directions so we can nest the seams together. You guys are falling a little bit. Okay, there we are. So I think what we did last time, I think we must have pressed these towards the inside, because that's where they're going to naturally want to go, I think. So I think we did the top and bottom, we pressed towards the inside, and then the middle one we pressed outward. So that's the plan. I know, my poor machine. I'm lucky it still sticks around after it falls and has so many injuries. I do have a couple other machines, but they're not this machine. This is the machine I know the most, and I don't know, I'd be sad if I didn't have this one anymore. Probably should have given these a good press before I started sewing those sashing together, but oh well. There's our first pressed guy. All right, so this guy too, we're pressing these seams towards the inside. All right. That'll do. Like so. And then this one, we're going to be pressing the opposite. So instead of pressing these towards the inside, we're going to press them out. And that will help us get our nested seams, which will help us get nice points. Which we'll take a look at in a moment here. Okay. So there we are. Our first part of our 9 patch is done. So this is the next part, and I think I'm going to grab my Wonder Clips because we have a larger area now to hold, and it's going to flop around a little bit more. So having these little, oh, I have some out here already. Some wonder clips in hand will be helpful. You can use pins too. I've just been using the wonder clips lately. So first up, what we're going to do is nest these seams. So here you can see these seam allowances we press outward. These ones we press inward. So I'm going to just focus on one group at a time. So the top and bottom, like this one going one way, this one going to the other direction. The seams where they're folded should just kind of bump up against each other. So when you can feel that bump right next to each other, that's what you want. And I'm going to clip that down. By doing this, we should get really nice seams. Colette, I did not get my new pins yet. So I ordered some new pins off of Mass Drop, but Mass Drop takes a while to ship, so I probably won't get them till like mid-November or something. But I'm excited for those as well. All right, I'm going to clip that seam. There, so both our seams should be pretty good. We should get some nice points out of this, I'm hoping. And I don't think I'll use pins anywhere else, or clips or pins anywhere else. I think this will do just fine. All right, let's give it a go. Let's sew that one, and then we'll clip the other one after we sew this edge. I feel like I'm concentrating on sewing a straight line here a little bit more than usual. All right, we're coming up to our first little point. I might actually just take both of these off at the same time. They're pretty close together. I'm hoping to hold these little groupings together though, where they're butted up against each other. Whew, we'll have to see how we did. There we go though. And now let's sew down the rest of this. Ooh, we're chunked through there a little bit. Through the thicker parts, I can definitely feel it working a lot harder. Okay. Yep, should be good to go. Let's see how we did. Oh, there we go. So from nesting the seams together, that's how we got these points to line up so well. That looks perfect. Awesome. So let's hope we do that well on the other side here. Okay, so that was our top piece. And you can see, since we didn't cut this edge, it's hanging over a little bit. So that'll help us once we quilt, I think, to give us that little extra leeway. We'll still sew it down, though. I think that was a good suggestion. We'll sew around the edge first. Okay, let's do the other side. So let's flip this whole thing over like so. Oh man, you guys, I forgot we have this cat down here that we kind of fussy cut. I'm glad I put it in the right spot and I didn't accidentally twist this around. So we got this elephant and this kitty that are right side up. So good thing we did that. We did it just fine. All right, flip. All right, now the same thing. We're gonna nest these seams together. You can feel that fold. Their folds bump up against each other. That's what we want. Let's clip on this side. And same thing over here. I can feel them bumped up. yeah, I'll have to put together a penguin and fish glossary. So a new person, if you're new here tonight, so you can follow along with all the random words that we use here. Okay, let's sew this edge. some fabric. Oh, I forgot we were supposed to aim for a one of those cathedral window pieces there, but oh well. Oh shoot! Am I still bumped up? I got flipped around here a little bit. There we go. Well, we'll see how it goes. Rest of this edge. Yep, definitely kerchunky. I'll try and clean this up a little bit or get a new needle on before we start free motion quilting. That's I'm waiting from Mass-Drop too. I just got a whole thing of new needles. Oh, even though we kerchunked through this, our point looks awfully good right there. So yay. Oh, how did we do lining these up? Not as good as the top, but still not too shabby. This one's lining up pretty well. This one's just off a hair. Not too bad. So there's our 9 patch. Let's just give this a little press. And then we're good. So I think there's enough time. We'll just press these towards the center. Enough time to put our back together and our batting. We might have to actually assemble some batting, but we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to use scrap batting as well. Just kind of use up all the things. So I might actually use different types of batting throughout this quilt as you go process too, which I think I'm just kind of curious at what that would end up like. Okay, let's give it a press on the front too. Oh, it's cute, little red dot. Oh, congrats, Robin! Just finished up the Radio Waves one. Yeah, that one was a nice and easy one, but it looks fancy still. This is the Radio Waves one down here. All right, I think that's the best we're gonna get that. All right, so here I'll get up a little higher so you guys can see. There's our next 4 patch. Yay! Let's see what it looks like next to these guys. Oh, it's gonna be so fun. Look how different it looks when it's all finished and quilted. It's just kind of crazy. I'm just really liking the backs of these. So on the back, I'm doing all this buttery color. I don't know why this one got discolored. Doesn't it look a little discolored in the middle? But whatever. So I only had scraps of it. So I actually have one more fat quarter. Oh, this does look like a different color, doesn't it? Huh. I think it's the same fabric, but it's just, maybe I had a couple bolts, and this one's just slightly different. But oh well, we're going to deal with it. So I have one fat quarter left of this, and then my mom brought a bolt of it over, which doesn't have much on either. So well, we're going to use it up on this quilt, I think. But I think it looks so sweet with this little pale yellow on the back. I think it goes with all our pale yellows on the front. I just really am loving it so far. So, all right, so this will be our back. So I need to, let's press this real quickly here too. And you know, I might even expand my cutting mat here. We'll go this way. Yeah, we'll go like this, just so I have a little bit bigger surface. It's hanging off a little bit. Let's press first, but then I'll do that. All right. So I don't need this whole fat quarter, but I do need quite a bit yet. Whew, working in the little space, you still get a big mess. But at least it's contained to this little space, I suppose. scooch this down here. Maybe we'll sandwich this together, and I'll try and sew those edges tonight too, maybe. All right, I think this is the best. This is the best this is gonna get. So, all right, now I'm gonna expand this. Yeah, Noeline, I think that's what's happening. It's. I think it came off of, like, some of these are coming off of my bolt of fabric that I had, and some is coming off of my mom's. So, yeah, they might be just like just a slightly different dye lot. All right, so now all I need is the batting, and this is the batting I had left, but I might not have a big enough square. So here's kind of a corner. Maybe that's big enough. I might actually have to Frankenstein some of these pieces together. So let's see. Let's get this up in the corner. So I can see a little bit of that edge. Ooh, this might not be big enough. Oh, that'd be a bummer. Oh, it's just big enough. Yay! Okay, good. So it is just big enough. After this piece, we will have to most likely start Frankensteining some batting pieces together, but this is just fine. And you know what? I think I might pin this to the batting here before I trim it down. So I'm going to just grab my thing of basting pins here, throw one in the center. So these pins I'm pinning through all three layers now: the front, the batting, and the back. And I just want to kind of spread these out. We'll get the four sides and then the four corners, and then I'm gonna sewing machine around the edge. We'll do it that way. I'll probably leave this pin in the center for now, but I'll get sewn around the edge, and then I can remove all these other pins, I think. But yeah, I didn't sew around the edge last time, and I think you're right. I think that will help hold it in. Hold all this stuff from pulling in. Come on, the pin. Just trying to kind of flatten it as I go a little bit here. Ah. It's about time. This is the most pins that have ever been in this container before. I'm on that stage now where a lot of my quilts are actually getting finished, which is crazy town. So like my old Splendid Sampler quilt, the pins are off of that. We're done with the Charming Chevrons quilt. I don't have pins on that one anymore. Even my jean quilt, I think just about all the pins are out of that one too. We're hand tying that one, so it's kind of slow motion, but still, more and more, oh gosh, that guy's not working well, but more and more of these guys are getting back into this jar. It's never been full like this before. But man, I think it's time to go through all of them again and just see what ones are actually sharp or not yet. Because like this one, I had to really, really push through, and when they get just dull like that, I feel like it can ruin your fabric a little bit. So I just get rid of that. Oh, yes, Bonnie, you're right. It is Finish It Friday this Friday, which means it's the first Friday of the month. The month of November. Isn't that crazy? So, yeah, so every first Friday of the month, we just break out an old project that's been sitting around, and we try and get a little further on it. So I have my project picked out for Finish It Friday. I have it right here, you guys. So I finished my doily up. Here's that doily that I've been working on. And I thought for Finish It Friday, I would starch it and, what's that called? I always forget. In knitting, where you lay something out and make sure it's square and perfect. Oh, I asked last time too. I always forget what that's called. But I thought we'd starch this and spread it all out. So it's all kind of loose. Um, but once we spread it out, I mean it all expands. Like look at like this part here. It's gonna get just way wider and bigger. Blocking it. There you go. Thanks, you guys. Yeah, so we'll block it and starch it, and it's quite a process for these doilies because each one of these little bits, every single one of these little nubbins on the end here, every single one has got to get pinned down. So, so on Friday I will dip this in the starch. I think I will. I don't have any blocking pads. I know that they make those, so I'm just going to clamp a towel to the table here, and we'll start in the center. We'll dip it into the starch. I'm going to use just like straight liquid starch, and then we'll start in the center, and we'll start stretching it out and pinning it. We need that to look like a circle. We'll stretch this out so it lays flat, but it is going to get so much bigger than what it is right here. So I'm stoked. So I think that's the plan for Finish It Friday. I know I had, we tied last Finish It Friday. I was working on my jean quilt, hand tying the jean quilt. I have not gotten any further on that since last Finish It Friday, which was first Friday of October. But it is sitting out with all the supplies out, so I have high hopes that I will work on it at some point. You use your large ironing board with a thick towel. Yeah, I think last time I did a doily, I did it on this table, and I think I just put a big towel down. I must have held it with something though, so I think I might have clamped it. I think we have some clamps in this house somewhere. So I'll try and find those. I'll clamp that towel down, and then I'll just pin it to the towel. I have all those applique pins and all my other big pins. We'll just use just normal pins. But I'm pretty excited. It's going to just stretch out. It'll be really nice. I'm excited for it. All right, so that's pinned. I think I got it stretched out enough here. We could actually kind of measure, see what this ends up being. I think this should end up being 13 inches for us. Because it's the 6.5 inches plus that extra ½ inch here. So this actually ends up being 6 1/4 when it's sewn. Another 6 1/4, that's 12 1/2, and then another ½ inch. So yeah, we should have 13 inches. The old lady's way of starching crochet was using sugar syrup mix. Oh, interesting. So I'm going to use that. Oh, what is it called? Oh, I better check that I have some in the basement yet. But it's just that blue starch, that starch that comes in that big blue bottle. That's what I'm going to use. I'll just dump it in a bowl a little bit and do that. But a sugar syrup mix. I'm going to have to Google that. I'm a little nervous about having it like an edible of something that maybe, moths might like or something. But I'm curious about that. So I'm going to trim this. I'm going to trim the batting first. I want to leave a little bit of an edge in case it does stretch a little bit, but I don't expect it to stretch much because we're in this little area. So here's a piece. I wonder. Oh, good. We should be able to get at least one more piece out of this without Frankensteining it. Yeah, that way we'll have to Frankenstein, but a little bit more batting left. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, Charlotte, that sugar will attract ants and rodents and bugs. That's what Glennis, your mom, used that blue starch? Or did she use that sugar mix? I'm going to use that blue starch. I forget what it's called, but I have a jug of it in the basement. Oh, God, it's probably super old. Starch probably doesn't get bad, though, does it? I don't know. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to use. And my doilies end up pretty stiff usually, so I'm thinking that'll work fine. All right, I'm going to trim this now. I'll trim it a little bit bigger, just so I can keep an eye on it. I'm doing it roughly. I mean, we're going to trim this down later, so it doesn't need to be cut perfectly. All right, so there we are. I'm going to fold this guy up again. Don't need him so big. Yeah, I mean, yeah, look, I could stretch this out a little bit more, couldn't I? Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious. Did we get this to 13 inches? That's the one thing, the one reason that maybe I don't want to sew around the edge. Just because if it does stretch out a little bit, then I'll have like little loops on the side. So you know what? I think I'm not gonna sew around the edge because this is making me nervous here. Because like when I press this out, look at how it bunches here. So I think I kind of want to just let it be. And you know what? If we're a little close to the edge here again, I think we'll be fine. I think as long as I err on the side of all the new blocks, that I let them fall off the edge when they need to be, I think we'll kind of be okay. So I think, oh, we're getting towards the end anyway. I think we're just gonna let this sit. I'm not gonna sew around the edge. I'm gonna just start sewing. Hopefully maybe I'll start from the middle a little bit and go outward. That didn't work all that well last time though. Yeah, I could maybe just repin it. Yeah, I think I'll repin it. Let's do a little bit of that. I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna pull on that bottom a little bit because that bottom kind of felt like it needed it. Yeah, and we'll repin. I might still not sew it down, but we could experiment. Like I didn't sew that other one down, so maybe I sew this one down. We can see what works best. I suppose this is one of the nice things about working with small pieces like this. I can just try again, just repin it a little bit. I'm doing the sides first. You'd spray base these. So I've never used spray base before, so I don't know. That freaks me out a little bit, I'm sure. I know the people that do spray base just love it, so it's definitely something I should look into as like a new trick. I kind of love that about all these projects is I get to keep trying something new. So I don't actually own any spray based, but maybe I should pick some up somewhere and try and give it a go. Because like I said, I want to use some different battings for this because I'm using up scrap batting, and some of the batting is a lot thicker. I might want to spray base that down. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I am. Wasn't sure I was through all the fabric there. So I'm just going around doing the corners now. Make your own spray base. How do you do that? Just yeah. How do you do that, Aaliyah? Do you just put like starch in a spray bottle or something? That'd probably work. What is spray? I mean, it's an adhesive of some sort, right? I mean, it would have to be, right? Sugar for spray base? Oh, the smell is awful for you for the spray base. Yeah, the whole idea of it freaks me out a little bit. It's kind of like using glue. I mean, how I felt about using glue for English paper piecing and stuff, but I actually really like using glue now for that. But yeah, I don't know. Aerosol can, I don't know. It sounds chemically to me, but something I want to look into. Oh, you can't source them there. Yeah, I'll Google it though. Because I'm curious about that. If you can just make your own, that'd be cool. Did I do this one? I think I did. Let's check the back now. You know, still, when you still push on this, it still kind of stretches a little bit. So, you know what? I think I'm going to err on the side of just leaving the pins, and we'll just see what happens. Gosh, I have no idea how I'm going to quilt this though. We'll have to come up with some ideas. Could almost do some sort of circle, like this could continue a little bit, or, you know, this is kind of floral down here. We could actually make this even more floral, like this could be the center, and we could follow this for like a floral shape or something. I don't know. There's, you know, this, I think this guy will just kind of outline, we'll just echo around and around and around him. That'll look pretty. This guy too, maybe a little bit. Oh, it's very 3D, this one. Like, it'd be fun to leave these kind of flaps of the of this cathedral window, so I don't necessarily want to stitch those down. I don't know, we'll have to put the thinking cap on, but this will be our job tomorrow. So tomorrow we will finish this block, we will quilt it, and then we'll be able to get it ready to, I don't know, we could probably just keep adding to this, right? I mean, I could just keep doing like 2x2s and then rearrange them later, but I kind of like the idea of just continuing to make a strip. So, all right, guys, I think we'll call it quits here. And yeah, tomorrow we'll change the machine over to free motion quilting. I'll get my, I have that Westerly decorative, I think, ruler foot here. So I'll get that guy back on the machine and we'll give this a go. So, all right, I'm going to flip you around and we'll call it an evening here. All right. So I gotta try more of these faces before I head out tonight because they're just so fun. All right, well, we're gonna go back to the Medusa head. There we go. Very Halloween-y. And I like the makeup. See, I should do some like pretty eye makeup. All right, so you smooth the backing out first and lay the batting smooth out again. Yeah, I just think it's always gonna stretch a little bit. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to get this much better, but pretty snake head. All right, but that's ready to go. All set for tomorrow. I know the tongue's the best part, right? They kind of move a little bit too. All right, so we'll get a different one on tomorrow than this one. All right, I'll get this up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies. I do like the tongue. And I will see you guys tomorrow here. I know it's so pretty, right? My little friends. Pet them. Such a good little snaky. You're a good snaky too. All right, good night, you guys. See you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m.